Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Econ Smart Classes. In this video I will be covering production and first welfare theorem, after which I will cover second welfare theorem concept and then moving on to a numerical. Okay, so I hope whatever we covered in the previous video was clear to you, right? So let's get started. Okay, now in the first welfare theorem, so far we have covered first welfare theorem in the कंज्यूमर्स थ्योरी. ठीक है, कंज्यूमर्स थ्योरी में हमने क्या पढ़ा था, दैट फॉर द फर्स्ट वेलफेयर थ्योरम इफ एन आउटकम is competitive equilibrium, then necessarily it will be Pareto efficient. Okay, so when we talk about production now, for production as well, when suppose all firm, let's say there are n firms, okay, and all the n firms they act competitively. Okay, there is a market competition and let's say perfect competition situation. Okay, each one is acting independently and in a competitive manner, then the competitive equilibrium outcome necessarily will be, the competitive equilibrium outcome will be necessarily Pareto efficient. Okay, that's what is the requirement, the understanding of first welfare theorem, that a competitive equilibrium outcome must be a Pareto efficient. So the same result holds for production as well. Now here we rule out the possibility that first point we rule out is there does not exist any production externality. Okay, externality meaning one firm action does not affect the action of the other firm. Okay, either positively or negatively. So there is no externality involved. The production of one firm is only concerned with maximization of profit of its own. Okay, and since in Robinson economy the same person is a consumer and as well as a producer. Okay, so whatever maximize the Robinson will maximize its production, the competitive equilibrium outcome will be a Pareto efficient. So first it rules out the possibility of production externality, and second again it rules out the possibility of consumption externality. Okay, there does not exist consumption externality and there does not exist production externality. Okay, so I hope the two concepts are very much clear, and you can read it in the theorem. Here it mentions clearly that profit maximization, here the profit maximization outcome which is competitive equilibrium, it ensures Pareto efficiency, right? So it ensures efficiency but not justice, of course, because a Pareto efficient outcome may not be justified outcome, right? I hope that is clear, that a Pareto efficient outcome may not be just or fair. Okay, allocation. Okay, I hope this point is also clear, because if we have suppose an Edgeworth box like this and there are two consumers A and B, and this is X and Y production, and here again you are plotting X and Y in this direction, and now when we are saying production outcome may not be just, it's possible. Let's say utility for A consumer is given as say X plus 2Y. Okay, utility for B consumer is given as 2x plus y, something like this. Okay, it's just an example we are discussing in between. Okay, so when you plot the two different utility functions, how do we plot that? Just think about it. So this is a utility function, so it is x plus 2y with the slope. What's the slope of this IC? Minus half, and the slope of this IC would be minus 2, right? So how do you do that? Slope is simply dy by dx, right? That's how by rearrangement you get this equation. Okay, now given this is suppose the slope IC of A, okay, with slope minus half, and the slope of B is more steeper with minus 2y slope, right? ICB. Now having both the ICs put together, so given this IC of A, let's say B is maximizing at this point, and given this IC of B, A is maximizing at this point, right? This is how when you have set of IC map, okay, like this, ICA, given this IC of B individual, A is maximizing at this point. Similarly, when you plot all these points like this, given this IC of A, B is maximizing here, right? So when you put all these points put together, these are the set of Pareto efficient point, and these are also the set of Pareto efficient points, right? So all the region from here to here, let me denote it again by some other points. So this is the region, and this is the region which denote the Pareto efficient set of points. So here none of the allocation is not just here, right? It's not fair, so it's possible to find such case where allocation is not just, okay. Anyways, so I hope this point is clear, that Pareto efficient outcome may not be just or a fair allocation, okay. Now coming back to the point here where we were discussing production and the second welfare theorem, right? Now we have also discussed previously in the consumers theorem case, when we talk about the production and second welfare theorem, okay, in consumer theory, what we say is that if allocation is so if the preferences are convex, okay, given this condition is true, then a Pareto efficient allocation can be competitive equilibrium allocation as well by some reallocation of resources or say endowment, okay. Now here in production case, here the income of the consumer is basically the income from endowment of labor that the consumer that the person has, right, plus income is from the profit, which is the sale, profit we can say, or sale from its output it's producing, right? Same output it's producing, and the labor the person is devoting to earn the income, right? So here we are saying there he can sell this endowment in the market and he is getting some a competitive equilibrium outcome. So whatever efficient outcome that exists, that must be a competitive equilibrium allocation as well, as per the second welfare theorem, right? So same possibility holds in production as well. This is what we are trying to say. So in case of pure exchange economy, like previously we have discussed, every Pareto efficient must be a competitive equilibrium as long as consumers have convex preferences, right? So now when we have production, same result is true, but now we require only that consumer preferences are convex, but also the firm's production set are also convex, right? This is the additional point here, not just a consumer preference, but production set should also be convex set. So now we have previously discussed that when we say convex set must be there, it means that suppose we have output plotted here and the labor plotted here, okay. So this is what we previously studied as the production function, okay. Now this function represent diminishing returns to scale, right? And the other case we discussed was output when you produce, let's say, coconut in this case, and you have constant returns to scale, meaning whatever x unit of labor if you increase, the output is also increased by same proportion, okay. And now here in diminishing returns to scale and constant returns to scale, we were able to find a competitive equilibrium, right? So if you clearly remember, with constant and decreasing returns to scale, second welfare theorem works well, because here Pareto efficient allocation will be a competitive equilibrium outcome, and competitive equilibrium exists. Remember this thing, when you have decreasing and constant returns to scale. To know this concept again, you can refer to the previous video that I have shared, in which we have discussed about constant, decreasing and increasing returns to scale, and we have discussed that if there are increasing returns to scale, then firms will never stop production at some point, and the production set is also not convex set. Okay, so therefore there will not be any competitive equilibrium if there are increasing returns to scale. So if firms have increasing returns to scale at the equilibrium, they would want to produce more output at competitive prices, right? So they will not be any point where they will stop their production, right? So I just take you back to the previous graph. Here production set is non-convex, and here we can clearly see that there are increasing returns to scale. So at any point we cannot say there are competitive equilibrium, because firm will, so there is, let's say at this point there is some Pareto efficient point, because here your MRS IC is basically tangent to the production function, but this is not a competitive equilibrium outcome, because firm will want to produce more because they are increasing returns. With X percentage increase in labor, firm would want to increase production of coconut, because then the returns are coconut production will increase by more than X percentage, right? So this is why here there are increasing returns to scale, and because the production set is non-convex, you will not find any competitive equilibrium outcome here. Okay, so I hope this concept is very much clear, that second welfare theorem holds for constant and decreasing returns to scale. Okay, now, so specifically both from income from endowment of labor and ownership of the firm will have to be redistributed for decreasing and the constant returns to scale. And when the endowment get redistributed, then Pareto efficient outcome will necessarily be a competitive equilibrium outcome. As we've just discussed for second welfare theorem, the Pareto efficient outcome will be a competitive equilibrium outcome if there are decreasing returns to scale or say constant returns to scale, because here you will find competitive equilibrium outcome that exist. Okay, so I hope this part is very much clear. Alright, now moving on to the production possibilities. Now what happens when, let's say, a given unit of labor, when a firm employs, there is an X some other unit of output that is being produced. So let's discuss one of the cases. Alright, now we understand that, let's say, this is a production possibility frontier, meaning, let's say now we have two goods that are being produced, say fish and coconut. Okay, and this is the production possibility frontier. Okay, so the area inside production possibility frontier is basically the production possibility set. Okay, and the slope of production possibility frontier denotes what is the rate at which coconut is being given up to get more unit of fish, right? So basically there is a concept of marginal rate of transformation, which we have also discussed previously in the production, okay, in the micro 1 subject that we have covered. Okay, marginal rate of transformation is basically the rate at which you substitute, rate at which we give up coconut production for more or one more unit of production of fish, right? Now here if you compute the slope is simply minus of marginal rate of technical substitution, right? Marginal rate of transformation, you can say it's the same thing. Okay, now given this is the production possibility frontier, this is the maximum unit different combination of coconut and fish that the firm can produce. Okay, and in this set denotes different again set of possibilities inside the production possibility frontier. Okay, so you can just clearly read it and it should be very much clear that this is the production possibility set inside the shaded area, and it includes all the points on the frontier as well, and the boundary of this PPS is specifically named as production possibility frontier. Okay, and slope is equals to the margin rate of transformation here. All right, I hope whatever we have covered so far is clear. Okay, now suppose that Robinson can produce 10 pounds of fish. Robinson is a person here, and this is the input. We assume here, what is the input to production? Robinson's labor only. So whatever work he is doing to produce is the input in the production. Production function for fish and coconut will simply be a linear function of labor. We are just assuming this. ठीक है, means there are constant returns to production, right? Constant returns to scale here. Whatever let's say whatever x unit of output is being produced, it's a function of linear function of a times the labor that this person Robinson is employing to produce different units, let's say coconut and fish, right? Okay, now suppose he can produce 10 pound of fish per hour and 20 pound of coconut per hour. ठीक है, तो हाउ डू वी राइट इट? थिंक अबाउट इट. फिश वो प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है कितना? 10 पाउंड ऑफ फिश पर आवर. एक घंटे में वो 10 पाउंड, मतलब अगर 10 यूनिट वॉट एवर लेबर जो एम्प्लॉय कर रहा है टाइम्स 10 कर दें तो 10 पाउंड ऑफ फिश उसने प्रोड्यूस किया पर आवर. ठीक है, एंड सिंपली 20 पाउंड ऑफ कोकोनट पर आवर. सो जितना भी इसने लेबर एम्प्लॉय किया, लेबर एम्प्लॉयड इन कोकोनट टाइम्स 20 यूनिट उसने कंट्रीब्यूट किया फॉर द कोकोनट प्रोडक्शन. सो दिस इज हाउ वी कैन राइट द प्रोडक्शन फॉर बोथ fish and coconut. And next what we are given is that total labor that Robinson has is 10 hour of labor, which means LC plus total labor employed to coconut plus total employed to fish production is 10. Fine. Now just rearrange this equation. What do we get? Rearranging this equation we get LF equals to F by 10 and LC equals to C by 20. ठीक है, अब इनको कंबाइन करके हमारी इक्वेशन में बन गई है F और C की फॉर्म में, एंड दिस इज़ द इक्वेशन फॉर बेसिकली प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर. ठीक है, ये एक इक्वेशन बन गई है. एंड हाउ वी आर एबल टू से दैट? बिकॉज मैक्सिमम जो है रॉबिन्सन गिवन जो जितना अमाउंट ऑफ लेबर वो एम्प्लॉय कर पा रहा है, दिस इज़ द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ फिश एंड कोकोनट दैट ही वुड लाइक टू प्रोड्यूस. सो सपोज़ ये हमारा प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन है, यहाँ कोकोनट एंड फिश प्लॉट कर रहे हैं. सो दिस इज़ सम काइंड ऑफ अ स्ट्रेट लाइन प्रोडक्शन function. Production possibility frontier will come out to be a straight line in this case. Alright, so given different combination of fish and coconut that Robinson can produce if he has 10 hour of labor, तो उसका ये maximum capacity है वर्क करने का. so यहाँ से हमें मिला क्या? प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर है. एंड given this production possibility frontier हमें पता है this area inside this PPF is the production possibility set for this consumer, right? So if he gives up enough labor to produce 1 unit of fish, he will be able to get 2 more pound of coconut. क्योंकि ये ही रेट ऑफ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है. इसका मीनिंग क्या हुआ? उसने अगर 1 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर प्रोड्यूस कर 1 घंटा वो काम करता है तो वो 10 पाउंड ऑफ फिश बनाता है, प्रोड्यूस करता है. और अगर वो 1 घंटा सेम कोकोनट के लिए प्रोड्यूस करता है तो वो 20 पाउंड ऑफ कोकोनट. तो वो रॉबिन्सन ज़्यादा 2 टाइम्स ज़्यादा एफिशिएंट इन प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कोकोनट, राइट? इसलिए हम बोल रहे हैं कि अगर वो सेम अगर 1 घंटा वो फिश की प्रोडक्शन के लिए कम कर दे तो 2 एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट वो कोकोनट की प्रोड्यूस कर सकता है. ठीक है, सो इसीलिए ट्रेड ऑफ क्या है वो कितना, अगर हम यहाँ पर वाई एक्सिस पर कोकोनट प्लॉट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, व्हाट डज इट मीन टू से? इफ़ वी आर प्लॉटिंग कोकोनट ऑन द वाई एक्सिस हियर, गिव मी अ मिनट, यस, okay, y axis पर and x axis पर we have here fish production. So he is giving up 2 units of coconut. Okay, वो 2 यूनिट कोकोनट की गिव अप कर रहा है to get 1 extra unit of fish. तो this is how the slope of this is how the slope of this function look like. Understood? So production possibility frontier is a straight line with slope equals to -2. Okay, all right. Now in order to understand comparative advantage in a better way, let's say here we are now introducing. अब comparative advantage का meaning क्या है, हमें understand करना है. सपोज दो पर्सन है नाउ, रॉबिन्सन के साथ एक फ्राइडे इन्होंने एक नया वर्कर का नाम दिया है एंड वो एफिशिएंटली ज़्यादा फ़िश प्रोड्यूस कर सकता है. वो 20 पाउंड ऑफ फ़िश प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है पर आवर में एंड 10 पाउंड ऑफ कोकोनट पर आवर में प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है. ठीक है, तो इफ़ यू से सो इफ़ ही वर्क फॉर 10 आवर, 10 घंटे उसने काम किया, प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी सेट क्या बनेगा उसका, ही इज़ वर्किंग फॉर 10 आवर टाइम्स द labor that is employing for coconut production, it is equals to the total amount of coconut that he produce, right? क्योंकि उसने 10 घंटे लेबर एम्प्लॉय करी, वॉट एवर अमाउंट ऑफ लेबर जो एम्प्लॉय कर रहा है कोकोनट प्रोडक्शन में, टाइम्स उसने 10 पाउंड्स ऑफ कोकोनट प्रोड्यूस किया, राइट? सो दिस इज़ हाउ द प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन फॉर कोकोनट लुक लाइक. और फिश उसने फिश प्रोड्यूस किया 20 टाइम्स इट्स लेबर दैट इट्स एम्प्लॉइंग for the fish production, right? Combining the two, you know that this is how we can write the production possibility frontier for Friday, who's another person now. ठीक है, अगेन हम कह रहे हैं कि ये पर्सन भी टोटल लेबर जो एम्प्लॉय कर रहा है कोकोनट और फिश की प्रोडक्शन में, दैट इज़ इक्वल टू 10. ठीक है, now Friday's production possibility set is given by, you just combine the two and you replace rearrange. LC को हमने लिख दिया f/20 and LF को लिख दिया as f/20 is LF and C/10 is LC. ठीक है, replace the two and you get this equation. Okay, now when you put this equation in terms of production possibility frontier, what do we get? Now let's say for Friday, now this is for Robinson, whose trade-off ratio is 2:1. मतलब वो 2 यूनिट ऑफ कोकोनट प्रोडक्शन देगा तो 1 यूनिट ऑफ फिश मिलेगा, या फिर 1 यूनिट ऑफ फिश गिव करने पर उसको 2 यूनिट ऑफ कोकोनट का एडिशनल इंक्रीज़ हो रहा है. ठीक है, प्रोडक्शन. सो फ्राइडे इकोनॉमिस्ट के लिए क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पर, हिज प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर is depicting that he is giving up 1 unit of coconut for 2 extra unit of fish, right? So the slope of this kind of production function will become -half. Okay, so you can see this equation f/20 plus C/10. If you just rearrange, it becomes 10. One second. So it is f/20 plus C/10 equals to 10, right? So if you can just rearrange this, 10f plus 20c by 200 equals to 10. So you just multiply 10f plus 20c equals to this 2000. Okay, now you just compute dc by df. From here you get, if you just rearrange it, it will become -half. ठीक है, so that is precisely the slope of this production possibility frontier. Okay, so we write marginal rate of transformation as minus of slope, so it becomes 1/2, meaning what is the rate at which this person is giving up coconut for 1 extra unit of fish, right? So it's the ratio 1:2 is the trade-off रेशो, मीनिंग वो 1 यूनिट ऑफ कोकोनट दे रहा है तो 2 यूनिट ऑफ फिश उसको मिल रही है, तो वो ज़्यादा, दिस पर्सन फ्राइडे इज़ मोर एफिशिएंट इन प्रोडक्शन ऑफ व्हाट, थिंक अबाउट इट. नाउ कंपैरेटिव एडवांटेज की बात करते हैं. सो कंपैरेटिव एडवांटेज में हम देख सकते हैं दिस पर्सन रॉबिन्सन, इसका PPF इज़ गिवन बाय f/, just 1 minute. So इसका प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर इज गिवन बाय इक्वेशन F/10 plus C/20 equals to 10. So if you just rearrange, it becomes 20F plus 10C equals to some constant number, right? Let's say A. ठीक है. अब can we say that given this PPF equation, Robinson is more efficient in production of fish, right? क्योंकि वो 2 यूनिट ऑफ कोकोनट देना पड़ रहा है उसको, एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट 1 यूनिट ऑफ फिश को प्रोड्यूस करने पे. सो ही इज़ मोर एफिशिएंट इन प्रोडक्शन ऑफ फिश. एंड फ्राइडे इकोनॉमिस्ट, जिसका PPF इज़ गिवन बाय दिस इक्वेशन. ठीक है, ये हमारा PPF है. सो हियर फ्राइडे इज़ मोर efficient in production of coconut and ज़्यादा efficient है, इसलिए हम ये कह सकते हैं कि it has comparative advantage in production of coconut in coconut. ठीक है, comparative advantage का मतलब है, मतलब कंपेयर टू रॉबिन्सन वो उसको कोकोनट को ज़्यादा एफिशिएंटली प्रोड्यूस कर सकता है कम टाइम में, या सेम लेबर को एम्प्लॉय करने पे वो कोकोनट को ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस कर पा रहा है. ठीक है, तो यही हमने क्वेश्चन में भी ऐसे ही डिफाइन किया हुआ है. नाउ यू कैन कंस्ट्रक्ट हैविंग फ्राइडे एंड रॉबिन्सन्स प्रोडक्शन सेट, वी कैन कंबाइन द टू एंड यू गेट द joint production possibility set. ठीक है, now we've just discussed that, I will write it again, that Robinson is more efficient in production of fish. Robinson के पास comparative advantage in production of fish and Friday has comparative advantage in production of coconut. Right, now you have a production function of Robinson which is like this, coconut and fish here. ठीक है, इसका slope है -2 and here coconut fish दिया हुआ है, इसका slope है -1/2. when you combine joint production function, so this is Friday's, this is Robinson. Okay, so we first take Robinson. Friday के पास comparative advantage है production of coconut में. ठीक है, so you have coconut here and you have fish production here. So first we take production function for the Fridays, क्योंकि वो maximum जो produce कर सकता है. when you combine the two production frontier, हम देख रहे हैं कि कौन कितना ज़्यादा लेबर एम्प्लॉय करने पर, दोनों की लेबर एम्प्लॉय करने पे हम कितना मैक्सिमाइज़ कर सकते हैं प्रोडक्शन को. ठीक है, okay, so this is the production possibility frontier for Fridays. Okay, next we combine, so it's a slope with, it's a curve with slope -1/2, and then this is how you combine the two, this becomes the production possibility frontier for Robinson. ठीक है, ये फ्राइडे का हो गया, ये रॉबिन्सन का हो गया. when you put it together, this is the joint प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर. और हम इसमें क्या इन्फर कर सकते हैं, व्हेन यू लुक बैक द इक्वेशन ऑफ बोथ, सो लेट्स से राइटिंग इट अगेन, सो इट्स 10F plus 20C equals to a constant, let's say A, and here the equation was 20F plus 10C equals to constant A. ठीक है, नाउ अगर रॉबिन्सन एंड फिश कंप्लीट अपना लेबर टाइम एम्प्लॉय करते हैं फॉर कोकोनट प्रोडक्शन, देन मैक्सिमम कितना प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं हम कोकोनट. थिंक अबाउट इट. सो अगर 10 hours of labor Robinson is employing for the coconut production, right, then eventually you will get 100 unit of coconut from Robinson. Okay, एंड फ्राइडे क्योंकि ज़्यादा एफिशिएंट है इन प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कोकोनट, फ्राइडे वुड बी एबल टू प्रोड्यूस 200 यूनिट ऑफ कोकोनट, राइट. सो इवेंचुअली इन टोटल यू गेट 300 तो मैक्सिमम जो प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं हम कोकोनट, एंड सिमिलरली यू हैव मैक्सिमम यूनिट ऑफ fish at 300 which will be produced. And इसमें जो है फ्राइडे इज़ मोर एफिशिएंट इन द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कोकोनट एंड रॉबिन्सन इज़ मोर एफिशिएंट इन प्रोडक्शन ऑफ फ़िश. तो रॉबिन्सन अगर सारा लेबर एम्प्लॉय कर दे फ़िश की प्रोडक्शन में, देन इट विल बी एबल टू प्रोड्यूस 200 यूनिट ऑफ लेबर, 200 यूनिट ऑफ फिश, है ना. क्योंकि अगर वो 10 मैक्सिमम लेबर एम्प्लॉय कर सकता है फ़िश की प्रोडक्शन में और 220 उसने प्रोड्यूस किया, तो 200 यूनिट ऑफ आउटपुट उसने प्रोड्यूस किया. सिमिलरली फ्राइडे जो है अगर सारा लेबर एम्प्लॉय करता है फ़िश की प्रोडक्शन में, देन इट विल बी एबल टू प्रोड्यूस 100 यूनिट ऑफ फिश प्रोडक्शन. ठीक है. इस तरीके से वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट ऑफ कंपैरेटिव एडवांटेज, राइट. यू कैन सी इट, दिस इज़ व्हाट इज़ मैंशनड हियर. कोकोनट की प्रोडक्शन में हमें मैक्सिमम 300 यूनिट प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है, 10 फ्राइडे से एंड 200 रॉबिन्सन से, क्योंकि रॉबिन्सन इज़ मोर एफिशिएंट इन प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कोकोनट, राइट. दिस इज़ हाउ इट इज़ मैंशनिंग. व्हेन फ्राइडे इज़ प्रोड्यूसिंग 200 यूनिट ऑफ फिश, इट्स फुली ऑक्यूपाइड. वो फुली अगर फिश की प्रोडक्शन में एम्प्लॉय कर रहा है. Now therefore this is the production possibility frontier from Fridays, okay, and this is the production possibility frontier beyond a point from Robinson, okay. एंड देर इज़ अ किंक, क्योंकि दो डिफरेंट तरीके हैं गुड्स को प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए, कोकोनट फिश को प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए दो डिफरेंट तरीके हैं. अगर जितने ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी बढ़ जाएंगे उतने ज़्यादा किंक आ जाएंगे आपके प्रोडक्शन में. मतलब इस तरीके का वॉट एवर डिफरेंट किंग्स वुड बी देयर. अगर जितने ज़्यादा डिफरेंट प्रोडक्शन के देर विल बी डिफरेंट पीपल प्रोड्यूसिंग, right. So you combine all the production function and then you make a joint production possibility frontier. So therefore what we can say is that दो worker हैं यहाँ पे, they have comparative advantage in different goods, right. So joint possibility set में इसलिए kink है, there is this kink, इसको हम बोलते हैं kink, जहाँ पर उसका slope change हो रहा है. ठीक है. So I hope this concept is clear. In my next video we will cover more on Pareto efficiency, right, and a subsequent concept on profit maximization, right, and we will try to complete the chapter. I hope it is clear. If there is any doubt, guys, please post it in the comment box below, and if this video was helpful, do share it with your friends you love and spread it. Thank you so much.